Hello, I am Bethany and this is my AS Foundation Portfolio Evaluation. Having not done as well as I hoped last year, I decided to resit this module this year because I wanted to do journalism in the future, and it is important my print skills are good in a range of genres. My primary research guided my genre choice, and because it is what my target audience of UK 15 to 24-year-olds of both genders in social grades C1 to E said they wanted, I made the choice to make a new indie rock magazine. The products I have created for my indie rock music magazine develop and challenge the codes and conventions of real media products much more successfully than my first attempt last year. When I completed my AS Foundation portfolio last year, I had never used any of the digital SLR camera or editing software before, and this, along with not knowing enough about conventions, resulted in products that failed to meet the needs of my audience to look professional. I am really glad I made this decision to do this unit again because my final work actually looks a lot more professional as I've developed on the codes and conventions of real media products like NME, Kerrang and Q to ensure I've created a cover, contents and double page spread that fits in well with media language and representation expectations of the indie genre. To find out what media expectations my target audience may have had for a new indie magazine, I have researched popular indie magazine covers, contents and double page spreads and did primary audience research using SurveyMonkey. This gave me lots of ideas on what typography, colour palettes and articles that would work to represent my target audience. I was also able to learn from what they did not like about my Year 12 products, which was mostly connected to the images and layouts. As images were one of my weaknesses during my preliminary task, and my first attempt at this unit last year, I worked really hard planning photo shoots, sorting out costumes and props, picking the right models to represent my audience this year. To represent a range of people in my target audience, I did 4 main photo shoots, one at the stately home that followed rock conventions as it looked gothic, one studio shot of an older male artist, and there is still lots of famous older males in the indie genre like Noel Gallagher, as I wanted to make my magazine look professional by showing I could follow this convention, and 2 paparazzi style shots that looked like they were caught stars off guard, as this was another convention I say indie magazines followed. On my front cover, I have used a close-up of my female stars showing the stately home and maze garden in the background. I picked these locations to go with my made-up band named Alice in Wonderland. The costume I picked follows on this, as she is wearing a top hat and a black jacket to add to the gothic rock theme to the shoot that is right for the genre and audience. I made it obvious it was a music magazine by giving her a guitar to hold. She looks confidently straight at the camera, and this mode of address is right for the audience because it connotates rebellion, which along with the dark colours fits Stanley Hall's theory of 1904 that youths are depressed and rebellious. She also looks trouble and fun, which represents my young target audience by fitting Oscar B's theory that young people want to be reckless and carefree. My magazine colour palette of red, white, black and yellow also fits this youth theory stereotypes because the black and red fit Stanley Hall's theory because black connotates depression and rebellion, while white and red connotates passion and violence. The yellow and white connotate the fun part of Oscar B's theory, representing a range of people in the audience and following conventions of real media indie products like Kerrang and NME that frequently use these colours. This colour palette is more professional and successful than the colour palette I used on my preliminary task, which just looks badly planned compared to my final product. I have also used imagery and setting to link my pages to create a house style while keeping the cover star as the main star on the contents and double page spread. On my contents, I have included a low angle, medium close-up of a female star playing electric guitar with the maze garden behind wearing a rabbit head. This follows the codes and conventions of magazines like Kerrang, Q, that sometimes using dramatic props and settings for the creative eye, catching shoots of rock stars. This image represents males and females who like the idea of trouble and fun because having a rock star at a poshly stately home fits Hall's 1904 theory that youths look for excitement and trouble and Oscar B's theory that youths want fun. My double-page spread carries on with the same audience representation connotations because I have used a low-angle close-up of my star again, playing the guitar with a rabbit head, and 3 minor images that are framed in playing cards to connotate the Alice in Wonderland theme of my star, confident, fun and rebellious poses. A long shot of her playing the guitar in a top hat in a concrete Gothic arch, a low-medium close-up of her playing guitar wearing a gas mask, and a low-angle shot of her in a top hat sitting on a wall pointing confidently past the audience laughing. This follows conventions as it uses lots of professional images of the star that a target audience would be interested in. I have included two other images on my contents page that also fits these theories and follow conventions. A close-up paparazzi shot of an older male indie star in a car with his middle finger up to connotate rebellion that fits Hall's theory, as the target audience will be in the convention of badly behaved, rebellious rock stars being aggressive and unpredictable. And a close-up of what looks like weed, as drug taking is associated with the music scene and youth culture, as it is criminal behaviour that fits in with Hall's theory. On my cover, I have an older male star looking up again, looking depressed and edgy in a low-angle extreme shot close-up. This fits Hall's theory again. I have also got a natural shot of a girl playing a guitar to show a poster special on her band. The gender of my models and the way I have got them to pose follows and disrupts some gender theories. My female models are both young and could fit Mulvey's theory of being objects of desire, but I have not dressed them provocatively. I have even dressed my main character in masculine cloths. This disrupts Mulvey's theory and represents a modern audience who want more equality. My male star looks like an alpha male who fits Gauntlet's 2002 theory because he looks aggressive, but he is not young and muscular, so he disrupts the theory. This represents indie music fans who want to be alternative and not mainstream. All of these images show a massive improvement from my preliminary task, as I have used creative locations, costumes and props, and I did not just take images around college. Although the preliminary task was a college magazine, looking back at it next to my main task, I would have been more professional if I had done better images with more interesting shot framing and settings. My articles on my double-page spread follows forms and conventions of real media products, as it is a similar interview feature story about my main star. I used modern language, similar articles you may not read in Kerrang. This fits Bloomer and Cat's uses and gratification theory because the story is entertaining and gives them more information about a star that represents them. With the typography on my double-page content and cover, I followed real media conventions by consistently using the same fonts. I used a variety of Gothic, grunge and modern impact fonts to represent a range of people in my audience through making the products look rebellious and fun. I also tried to create a consistent house style with my layouts that followed conventions of real media texts by making the magazine look exciting and fun through using lots of images and a range of font sizes. I also made my cover and contents look professional by including text boxes, page numbers and other professional features like a barcode, price and issue number. By doing this, I have ensured that my products follow the codes and conventions of real media products, as the covers I have looked at that uses the fonts in this way to represent their audience. In conclusion, I think my magazine cover and contents and double-page spread have a unique creative style because I have worked really hard getting the props, locations and costumes right for my photo shoots, which made my work much more professional than my preliminary task. Throughout my foundation portfolio work and my work as a writer and designer on the college magazine Skive this year, I have got better at using media technologies. As I attempted this brief last year, I already had some slight experience in Adobe Photoshop, InDesign and Illustrator, but I only got a D. My skills had not really progressed as much as they needed to before I got onto a journalism degree. With Photoshop and InDesign, I put a lot of my spare time into college into practicing these with programs. Joining the college magazine editorial team also helped with this. I developed my Photoshop skills by using many different tools like brightness and contrast adjustment, grayscaling, blending modes, magic wand tools and applying filters. Through doing this, I think I have got a lot more confident as I have learned how to use different layers and colour schemes effectively. When you look at my preliminary tasks and final product, you can see my skills developed as my work now looks of a higher quality. In InDesign, I use this program to get professional layouts through adding text and images. My favourite piece of work in terms of this layout is my double page spread. This program was difficult to use, but with determination and practice I got the basics and I am satisfied of how I know how to use it. I've also been able to develop on my photography skills with a 5D, 6D and 600D cameras. This year I'm using a range of lenses to get the right landscape shots in natural lighting shots at stately home. When you look at my preliminary task, you can see that I have got a lot better at photography and I am now thinking properly about camera angles, aperture and focus. I also use technology for planning an exhibition. I use the internet on a Mac, PC and my phone, depending on where I was working, to look at similar products to get an idea of what type of shots, colour palettes and texts I needed. I would need to use to make for my product. I also used the software SurveyMonkey to find out about my audience and what would represent them. This helped a lot as I was able to represent them better. For exhibition and distribution, I used a range of technologies for my planning and main print products. I used Blogger for my evaluation that I edited on iMovie, and I used YouTube. But again, I also put the link on my work to help keep all of my portfolio together. Through making all my products this year, I think I have learned a lot about technology and development, my print skills, a lot from my preliminary task, and from last year when my skills prevented me making the professional products I wanted to make. I am now more confident I have the skills for a media job or degree with my skills in technology. The company I would like to distribute my magazine is the Bauer Media Group, which is a German company that is internationally known. The company operates in 19 different countries, which means if my magazine is produced by this company, it will have a much greater chance of being successful, as well as being well known. The brand is well connected and is one of the biggest media groups around at the moment. The company has over 25 million consumers in the UK alone, which reflects on the amount worldwide. My magazine would also be the perfect candidate for the Bauer Media, as they are the distributor of some of the biggest magazines such as Q and Mojo. Q is a rock magazine too, and one of the best professional magazines available. This means that Bauer have experienced and know about the rock industry, which could be crucial for my magazine and its success. The Bauer Media Group is not only known for magazines, they have products all along the media spectrum, which again is another benefit for my rock magazine. My magazine would be perfect for Bauer to distribute, as it's a professional music magazine with the characteristics of a rock music magazine, which Bauer have experience with. Bauer Media Group is one of the world's biggest media groups and can easily influence audiences and people's views, as they can connect to consumers on a wide connection. This would support the hypodermic syringe theory, stating that the media can change the way you think and influence people's actions, as the company is successful and has a mass amount of power of the media. This means that my audience are more likely to be influenced and enjoy the magazine if Bauer can distribute it on a mass scale.